Hey, what's going on everybody? Paul Tech here. In today's video, I got the comparison for you. The ZTE Grand X Max 2 for Cricket Wireless and the ZTE Zmax Pro for Metro PCS. Both fantastic phones. In this video, I'm going to share with you the differences, the similarities between both of these devices, and hopefully this video will help in your decision on which device is best for you. Now, just talking about design and build of both of these devices here. Now, starting off with the ZTE Grand X Max 2 here. Again, this glossy plastic finish to the back. I've noticed it does pick up some fingerprints and oils off your hands, and it is prone to scratches, as you can kind of see on my device there. On the other hand, with the ZTE Zmax Pro, you get this soft matte finish to the back. It doesn't really pick up fingerprints or oils, not as much as the Grand X Max 2, and it is less prone to scratching in my experience. But ultimately, if you plan on throwing a case on either one of these devices, it shouldn't really be a big issue, I guess, the material that is used on the back of these devices. But I did want to point out that there is a difference there. Now, both of these devices here are large devices. They also have a large 3400 non-removable battery in both of these here. So you're going to get some really good battery life on either one of these devices here. I've been getting about 4+ hours a day of screen on time, and typically both of these devices can last me through an entire day. Now, moving on to the rear facing cameras, starting off with the ZTE Grand X Max 2 here, you're actually getting a 13 megapixel camera up on top. Right beneath that is the flash, and then you're also getting a secondary 2 megapixel camera, which I'll go into more detail in this video. Right beneath that, ZTE branding there, and then Cricket branding on the bottom. Moving on to the ZTE Zmax Pro, you're also getting a 13 megapixel camera up on top, flash, and instead of the secondary camera like the Grand X Max 2, you're actually getting a fingerprint sensor, which I'll also go into more detail about in this video. ZTE branding right beneath that, and then a backfiring speaker. Now, when it comes to speaker placement, on the Grand X Max 2, you actually have a single down firing speaker, and I actually prefer that placement better than the Zmax Pro backfiring speaker. Now, they both have Type-C charging, with the Grand X Max 2 having Quick Charge 2.0, but I am going to do a speed charging test on both of these devices here, so stay tuned for that video. On the right hand side, you got your volume rockers, power button. You can see there is a slight difference in color, and there seems to be more separation in the volume rockers on the Grand X Max 2 compared to the Zmax Pro. Moving on to the top of the devices there, you have headphone jacks on both of them. Moving to the left hand side gives you access to your SIM card and your micro SD card for expandable storage. Now let's move on to the front of these devices here. You're getting a 5 megapixel front facing camera on both of these devices here. Capacitive buttons on the bottom, 6-inch full HD 1080p display on both of these devices here. A fingerprint sensor is going to be one way of unlocking your Zmax Pro, and with the Grand X Max 2 you can just basically hold down on the display to unlock it, or there's some other security features which I'll show you. Now, jumping into the home screen here, first thing I want to do is show you is in the dialer, because this is going to be something that is different. Now, with the Zmax Pro from Metro PCS, you are getting that video calling feature, and with the Grand X Max 2, there is no video calling feature in the dialer. Now, moving on to the messaging application here, you can fully customize both of the messaging applications here, for the background to the keyboard. So that is something that is very similar between both of these devices here. Now, moving on from there, let's go ahead and jump into the app drawer here. So you are getting a pretty much stock Android experience on both of these devices here. I mean, they do have their own carrier applications that are pre-installed, but you are getting some similar applications as well, for instance, like Dolby Audio. So you do get that both of these devices here. So let's exit out the app drawer here. Now, if you hold down on the home screen here, on the Zmax Pro you get wallpapers, widgets, and settings. And the Grand X Max 2 you get wallpapers, widgets, and themes. So my device here, as you can see, you can switch it up, and now you have this sports theme where the icons have changed. But me personally, I've just been using the stock theme that comes with the Grand X Max 2. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into themes there, or this Android theme. So that's what I've been using there. But for the most part, these devices are very snappy. They're very fluid, very responsive. Let's go ahead and pull down the status bar there. As you can see, they are very similar with their quick toggles up on top there. You can also edit these to your liking as well. You got auto brightness there. I'm going to click on edit just to show you guys real quick. But they're pretty much identical. There is really no difference in the quick settings option there. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of there. And next what I want to do is jump into settings so I can just kind of give you an idea, show you guys how the settings looks on both of these devices here. Again, this in settings is going to look very, very similar as well. Now, one thing is not a big deal for me, but it might be for others. I'm going to go ahead and go into more here, but there is no NFC on either one of these devices here. So just keep that in mind if you are watching this video researching. There is no NFC on either one of these devices here. Now moving on to display here, both of these have adaptive brightness. You can change the font size, and they both have a notification light. On the Grand X Max 2, it's on the bottom center, it'll pulsate blue, and on the Zmax Pro, it's on the bottom center and it'll pulsate white color. Let's move on to security features here. Now on the ZTE Grand X 2, your security feature is going to be pattern, PIN, and password. Now as you know with the Zmax Pro, it does have that fingerprint sensor, which is going to provide a very good security for your device. But not only is it a fingerprint sensor to unlock your device, it also serves as access to taking photos, answering phone calls. You can actually open applications with that fingerprint sensor as well. So just keep that in mind. Move on to navigation key here. So you can actually switch these up to your preference. I'm actually going to switch it since I'm doing this comparison to put the back button more towards the left side of the device there. Internal storage is going to be a big difference too. You're only getting 16 gigabytes of internal storage on the Grand X Max 2, and then with the Zmax Pro here, you're getting 32 gigabytes of internal storage, so there is a difference there. Now let's go ahead and move on to About Phone. Now both of these have the December 1st security patch, and they're both rocking Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow. So this device, these two devices are optimized very well. They both have 2 gigabytes of RAM, a 1.5 gigahertz octa-core processor, and hopefully we will see Nougat in the future. Like I mentioned, they both have an octa-core processor with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 617. They're both clocked at the same, and they also have the Adreno 405. Move to the Geekbench 4 for those of you that are interested. Grand X Max 2 scored a single core score of 707 and a multi-core score of 2,121. Zmax Pro scored 692 single core and multi-core score of 2,201. So there is a slight difference between these two devices here, but not big. On the Antutu benchmark test, the Grand X Max 2 scored 45,043, and the Zmax Pro scored slightly higher with 46,184. Now when it comes to gameplay, jumping to the Google Play Store, basically whatever game you download off the Google Play Store, it's going to be able to run it perfectly fine. Both of these devices can handle every game off the Google Play Store. I haven't suffered any overheating issues, and they both have the gyroscope as well. Now let's move on and talk about these cameras here. Now both of these have the 13 megapixel camera on the back, and they both have same video settings. You can record in 1080p, you got a time-lapse mode, manual controls, but with the ZTE Grand X Max 2, that secondary camera offers that bokeh effect, which in my opinion you have to decide, is that worth having that secondary camera, or would you prefer a fingerprint sensor? Now I took some sample photos which I'll show you and let you guys be the judge of which has the better camera. Now when it comes to video recording on both of these devices, I mean, they both do a great job, but I would have to give the upper hand to the ZTE Zmax Pro. It has a digital image stabilizer, and just videos just seem more stable recording on the Zmax Pro compared to the Grand X Max 2 in my experience. Now moving on to outdoor visibility on both of these devices here, they both do a great job outdoor in direct sunlight. I have full clarity on both displays, so outdoor visibility is great on both devices here. Now moving on, let's talk about this display here. 6-inch display on both of these devices here, 1080p resolution. I mean, you're going to have a great media experience watching YouTube videos, Netflix. It's just an overall great experience. 1080p 60 frames per second is what you can be able to watch on, and the displays look beautiful in my opinion. Now audio, I'm going to have to give it to the ZTE Grand X Max 2 with that down-firing speaker. It just sounds a lot better than that back-firing speaker on the ZTE Zmax Pro. Well, that is my comparison between the ZTE Grand X Max 2 for Cricket Wireless and the ZTE Zmax Pro for Metro PCS. I try to touch on all the key elements which I feel that you would want to see most in this comparison. Both these devices are great. They both offer some good features. I like the down-firing speaker on the ZTE Grand X Max 2. I like the fingerprint scanner on the ZTE Zmax Pro. I like the internal storage on the Zmax Pro. The camera on the Grand X Max 2 does have that nice bokeh effect, but this is up for you guys to decide. I provide the comparison, and hopefully this does help in your guys' decision, you the consumer out there, which device is going to be best for you. Hopefully you guys did find this video helpful, informative. If you guys did, please hit that thumbs up button, and please subscribe for more future videos. This is Paul Tech, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.